everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm in my Halloween costume. It's not much of a costume, I'm afraid. I'll just show you. It's just a dress with bones on it. I'm gonna go paddle boarding to a Halloween event wearing this, and I just needed to get it on and get ready because I'm filming this on a bit of a tight deadline. Dinner's in the oven, and then I'm basically going to film this, stuff my face, go paddleboarding in the dark for Halloween wearing my outfit. Let's see how that goes. So today's video is all about Unspoken Musk from Francesca Bianchi. I did do a first impressions when I had the sample, and I really liked it. It wasn't an instant love. It wasn't one of those love at first sniff things, but it was pretty quick. It was pretty damn quick before I knew that I would have to order this. And I've only had this a couple of weeks, and you can see that I've put quite the dent in it. So really, really loving this. One of my top favorites that have been released this year, without a shadow of a doubt. It's right up there with Hera from Papillon. So I am truly, truly loving this, and I wanted to talk about it. So first of all, a little story. Let me spray some. So a little story about this. I've actually got a story of a few different reactions on this perfume, and we'll start with the funniest one. So I went away for a night with a friend and her children. We stayed in a caravan and it was lots of fun. And I had this perfume out on the top in the living area, and I'd had a few drinks, as had my friend Sally, and then she sprayed it on her skin and she immediately said it smelled like piss. That was her exact words. So there's the insult in the title of the video. Smells like piss, she said. And I said, well, you're probably quite correct, because there are really animalic notes in here that do get described often as piss or pooey, because there's civet and castoreum. So she was quite pleased with herself that she kind of picked out the notes in the perfume. But anyway, the contradiction here is the next day, before we went out, she sprayed it on. So she didn't actually hate it. Despite saying it smelled like piss, she still wore it herself the following day. So I think that's kind of interesting. So even though someone might describe it as animalic, pissy, or even fecal, I don't think it, personally, I don't think it smells any of those things exactly. It's still got an attractive quality to it. And now let's come to the compliments. I got a very good compliment on this perfume. I wore it to meet a friend, a male friend, very lovely person, and we went for a paddle, and I was paddling away from him, or I was paddling a good 6 foot, if not further, away from him, and he said, Claire, I've got to ask you, what are you wearing? It smells amazing. Or words to that effect. It was a very, very strong very strong compliment. So there are my stories of an insult, a compliment, and a contradiction. That's the story here. Now let's go on to how it smells. I'm not going to list all the notes because I don't think it's necessary. I think the notes that you need to know about are, yes, it does have civet and castoreum. They are not from animals, they are synthetic. So the fragrance is actually vegan. So that is great news for my vegan friends. It does come across, when you first spray it, a little bit dirty. It's a contrast of dirt, but to me it's not pure, it's not human excretions, shall we say. To me it's more like when you lay on a pillow for about a week, and maybe you don't wash your hair every single day. So there's that natural aroma that comes from, and I find scalps emit quite a lot of scent. I don't know, let me know if you think the same. And I'm very conscious of how my head smells when if I haven't washed my hair that day, or even if I have and I'm out in the hot sun, something happens. It's almost like a chemical reaction, and I can smell my head emitting a musky skin scent, which I don't find repulsive, but I always worry that other people will find it a little bit repulsive, like when someone hasn't washed their hair for a while and you can smell it. It's just not particularly pleasant. So the scent to me is like a pillow that has been slept on. It's not it's not like being slept on by a dirty person, but it just has that sort of skin, almost scalp like funkiness to it. But there is mixed in immediately a sweetness. There's I think it's probably the vanilla. I think there might be some other sweet resins in here, and a beautiful iris. There's always a good old dose, a good old generous dollop of iris when you try any Francesca Bianchi fragrance, and it's here for sure. And then you also have this Immortelle. So Immortelle, if you don't know what it is it's called the Everlasting Flower, and the smell is, to me it's always half and half. So with Immortelle I smell something like sweet, like a maple syrup, but maybe a little drier, like maple syrup flavored woods or something, you know, but it's not that woody, but it's just a dryish maple syrup. But I sometimes get curry nuances from it, somewhat like cumin, but not exactly as, not as BO-like as cumin, but almost curry leaf. I'd say actually, yes, a little bit like curry leaf. So maple syrup and curry leaf. But with the Immortelle in here, and I'd say the Immortelle is one of the most important notes in here, it's more dominant than you may expect, because it's called Unspoken Musk, so you're thinking about the musks, you're thinking about the animalics, but actually the Immortelle is very important, it plays a big role, and it lasts quite a long time in the fragrance. And to me it doesn't give off curry leaf vibes at all. It just gives me a fruity, like almost honey / maple syrup thing, and it's really nice. I don't know if it's the Immortelle that's making it fruity. Something gives me something slightly fruity here, fruity honey, but not in a really thick and unctuous way. It's a little syrupy, but it's not like really heavy. And so you have all of that playing together, the slightly funky animalic notes, the iris, this Immortelle that's giving it fruity / maple syrup things, and you get all of that at once, but it isn't the most funky for the first 10 minutes or so. And some people might be put off with that. It could be almost reminiscent of walking into, maybe, I don't want to say this, but if you walked into an elderly person's home and that they have been incontinent and things haven't always been cleaned up as quickly as possible, and you just get that hint of, I guess you could say urine, like my friend said, a little hint of that acidic sort of urine in the air, but it's not that strong. But it definitely gives you this contrast of sweet and fluffy and lovely with this iris, and then this slightly funky, putting you off your stroke a little, what is that kind of element to it, and you get it both at the same time. For me, that was probably why it wasn't an instant love, but it's when it calms down a little, and don't get me wrong, I really like it right from the start, I really like it, but as it develops on the skin, and it doesn't take long, that animalic, slightly, I guess you could say slightly pissy element really fades away almost to nothing. And so I find it a bit animalic for 10, 15, 20 minutes maybe. So if you were going out and you wanted to impress people, if you wanted to be a crowd pleaser, I think you can wear this, but just give it half an hour before you go and meet anyone, because it might be a little weird and a little funky for some tastes. But for me, I'm madly crazy about it, and I have no hesitation. I would wear this as a signature scent with no hesitation. I really like it. So as it develops, it doesn't really get that complicated. Out of all of Francesca's perfumes, this is the one that's least complex in my opinion, because it doesn't take you on a roller coaster. It isn't linear, but it isn't doing that much either. So the animalic tones kind of fade away, and it sweetens up, and you start to get much more of the vanilla, but it's never a singular vanilla note. You would never smell it and go, that's a vanilla perfume. I'd never say that. But the vanilla plays a decent role in in creating this gorgeous clean, musky, powdery iris aura. And it is a beautiful aura, especially once the animalics have calmed right down, and also the immortelle really gently fades away throughout the wear, and it becomes, in the far dry down, just this amazing, fluffy, very powdery iris, musk, manila. That's musk and vanilla together, manila. It's just this beautiful, fluffy, cloud-like aura, and it's not a really big beast mode perfume, but it has a really fabulous sillage, a really good sillage. But if you're wearing it and sitting still, you don't necessarily pick it up after the first few hours. It's only as you move around, and then you're like, oh, that smells good. So yeah, it lasts really well on my skin. I would say 10 hours ish. I do have good skin for perfume. My perfume loves skin, it grabs on. My skin loves perfume. It really grabs on and holds on to perfume. So you may have a different experience. For me, excellent performance. It projects exactly as I'm happy with it. I don't want a beast mode from this particular type of scent. I think musky perfumes, you don't really want them to be massively punching people in the face, especially when it comes to the beginning part, which is a little more polarizing. I would say if you are going to sample this, you absolutely must put it on your skin. Skin makes all the difference. With notes like musk and iris, skin makes a world of difference. So if you're going to sample it, put it on your skin and take your time. Don't make an don't run away screaming, scrub it off and make a very instant judgment. It might be too funky for some people in the opening, but you might find that if you can tolerate it for 15 minutes, you might find yourself falling in love. And yeah, that's it really. That's Unspoken Musk. I want to say a big thank you to Kelly, who supported me on Ko-fi. If that's something you want to do, the link is in the description below, and it is always much appreciated. And that's it then. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in another video. I don't think skeletons do that, but I'm crap at this stuff. Bye.